I'm back with part two of this. I'm back with part two of this video. And what I was saying is, Victoria Police need to realise that people can go and buy this, which is called a Samsung recorder. They're issued to the Victorian government, by the way, and they can go and buy these. The Victorian government has purchased a lot of these for their jobs. Now, this is a very good recorder because this gives you more than 8 hours of recording. You could have it on all day and it still wouldn't go flat. 6, 7 hours, it would still keep going. Now, at the end of the day, if you're a single woman and you get pulled up by police and you know that some police officers can be rogues and some police officers just fail to do their job correctly, maybe they're having a bad day, whatever, it still doesn't give them the right. But you have rights under the Charter of Human Rights Victoria. The Charter of Human Rights Victoria says the police must look at their legislation. They must do what their legislation says, but they don't do it. Some just don't do it, and this is why there is a problem. We need to have the Victorian Police accountable for their actions and for what they're doing. We need them to start thinking, oh, hang on, before I do that, there's a person walking down the road, maybe he's got an iPhone or a mobile phone, and maybe he's going to start recording me of what I'm doing. At the end of the day, we need to get out there, Victorian people. If you see people doing the wrong things, such as police officers, and they are treating someone in a bad way, get your iPhone out. If you need to, go up and support that person and say, are you okay? Do I have your consent and your permission to help you, sir or ma'am? And if they say yes, then the police officer cannot charge you or interfere because you are supporting that person and you are doing the right thing. And one thing that's clear is you need to ask that person their name, ask them where they're from, and how you can help them. Now, of course, the police write their own code of conduct and try to threaten you and bully you. As I said, it's not illegal for you to record the police. It's not illegal for you to sit back and record speed cameras doing the wrong things. It's not illegal for you to record the police. What I am saying is go out and buy the video recorder that I have shown you before. Go out and buy an iPhone. That if you have an iPhone on you, use that. Get a video camera. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you'll find something very interesting. You may drive past 2 police officers pulled up a car. Now, at the end of the day, most of the time, it's quite legal and legit. But you might pass and you might go, hang on, that's a bit strange. I'll go back and have a look. Get your iPhone out. Start recording this situation. Because the simple fact is, if it was any dangerous situation or you were interfering with police, then they would block the road off and no one would get through. So at the end of the day, if cars and traffic are driving past and back and forwards, and they haven't blocked the road off, then it's not illegal. Now, basically, you can also say that you are part of a media contingency. It might be a private media contingency, and that they can't touch you. Now, the interesting thing is that we need to make the Victorian Police, the police minister, accountable for their actions. We need to make people accountable. Now, if you're in Melbourne City at night time, going late shopping or whatever, and you see the police doing things wrong, like putting their boot in the back of a person's back or twisting their arm forcefully, get your iPhone out and start recording this behaviour. Start reporting it. Start putting it out there. Now, basically, there are a couple of things that you can do. You can go to the Ethical Standards Unit, which is 1300 363 101, ethical.standards@police.vic.gov.au. And there is a new system that has been set up, which is called IBAC. Now, IBAC is strengthening the integrity of the Victorian public sector. And what they can do for you is IBAC is a new commission that's set up to look at police corruption, anything in the public sector of any public worker in Victoria. And if you see corruption, I suggest you do something about it. Now, at the end of the day, I encourage all Victorians to get their iPhones out, to be prepared Go and buy yourself a person recorder, because the Victorian government have them, and I'm sure some Victorian police have them. If they can record you, you can record them. Now, this is the law. It's not admissible in court if you're just recording yourself and the other party. But if you had a third person in the car and they were part of that conversation, then can be used in court. It is up to the judge whether the judge accepts it. Now, yeah, of course the police can threaten you, become against their code of ethics, threaten you, scare you, and everything else. But you know what, at the end of the day, if they're threatening and scaring you and trying to misinform you what the law is, which is not illegal to record or video record police's behaviour. It is not illegal. So at the end of the day, the Victorian police are failing to do their job and protecting the community, protecting people. You know, at the end of the day, it's about strengthening and the integrity of the Victorian public sector, as IBAC has quoted. And we look at the Disability Action Plan, that if you would ask most police officers, the majority of police officers in Victoria wouldn't even know what the Disability Action Plan, but it is there on the Victorian website of the police. Now, that's an annex of the Disability Act to protect the vulnerable and the disadvantaged. All I can say is police officers that become rogue, that step outside of their job, that write their own codes of ethics and do not obey the code of ethics for Victorian police, they are rogues, they are cowboys, and they need to be stopped. We need to stop this corruption. We need to stop these people behaving unethically. Now, just because they get called to a job and the person is known to them, it doesn't mean the police must act in a way that is against their ethics and their codes. This behaviour in the Victorian police must stop. People that are vulnerable, that have disadvantages, that are misunderstood by the general of society, need to be understood by the police. The police don't need to be making enemies. Now, as I said, the police do a good job in most cases. But I think that because there is a new Premier in Victoria, we need to consider whether we need the Deputy Premier actually still staying as the Police Minister. The question is that we need to look at protecting the Victorian people. We need to be explaining what their rights are and explaining to them that if they ever see in Melbourne City police standing on the back with their shoe on the back of someone's back, kneeing their knee, forcibly assaulting somebody they have arrested, how much force do you need to use when someone gets arrested? I believe that when police arrest you, they are supposed to somewhat cause less minimal damage to you. In other words, they are to arrest you in a way that causes no damage to you, or causes you not to go to the hospital, or causes you not to bleed, or to be bruised, or to be battered, or to be abused by Victorian police. Now, police officers need to understand, just because they are bored and they have nothing to do, the Commissioner of Police, the Victorian government saying, well, if you don't get the right amount of statistical information, you don't get the figures right this week, you're just standing around being bored, so go out and get some arrest. Go out and pick on people. Well, enough is enough. Victorian people need to stand up and be accountable. Get your iPhones out. Maybe someone, or maybe I might do this, is start a Facebook page. And that is encouraging people to upload their videos of police acting wrongfully. And I don't care whether it's in Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, London, wherever. Start uploading these videos and naming and shaming these police officers that act unethically and act against their police codes and ethics. We need to stamp out the bullies in the police force. We need to stamp out the bullies that think that as soon as you're behind closed doors, they can stick the boot in. They can get aggressive with a person. That's not on. That is wrong. Why do you think we have cameras in police stations for? Because of this sort of behaviour happening in the past. If it wasn't happening in the past, we wouldn't need video cameras in the police station. The other question that I would say is that you should have video cameras in the front of your property, that ever the police knock on your door, you can video record them. You can video record what they're doing and how they're behaving. You can see them coming. You can see what's outside your house. But at the end of the day, I encourage to buy a recording device, to have a video device, and record everything that the police are doing to you. So let's keep the bastards honest, and let's keep the Victorian police honest. And the last note that I will say is that what happened in Sydney with the assault of that young man and what the police officer did, threw the person to the ground, these sort of behaviours are happening in Melbourne, Victoria, in the city at night time. You know, people may get drunk and intoxicated, but at the end of the day, do we really need to be going and assaulting these people? Do we need to be assaulting them, or does that make them police officers worse if they have to manhandle people and assault them in a way? I believe under the police procedures and codes, it says that we must arrest a person with minimal damage. The only time that it is justified to cause more damage to a person when there is no other way other than to cause damage to that person. But other than that, most people, if you talk with them properly and you talk with them correctly, they will comply with you. But if you're getting your back up and you're a police officer and you're getting your back up and you're being very aggressive towards them, then you're provoking them. And they may have a case against you because you provoked them in the first place. You're making them get aggressive. So at the end of the day, what I am saying to you is start recording the police's behaviour. If you have a police officer that comes up to you and starts becoming aggressive, obey their orders, all means, move on. Slowly move on, but get your iPhone out and start recording the bastards. Start recording them. Obey their commands. Comply with their commands. If you can talk with them and they're going to be reasonable, talk to them and say, hey, I'm just talking. What charge are you charging me? Why are you behaving in this way? And why are you treating me this way? I've broken no laws. I've done nothing wrong. And a good thing is to say to them that if you haven't done anything wrong, ask them why they are behaving that way towards you. Record them immediately on your iPhone if you're out in the public. Have a recording device on you and start recording them. Start catching these guys in the act, and let's clean up the Victorian police force. Let's make an honest and a high integrity of police force and iron out the police force and take the rogues, take the cowboys out of the Victorian police force. And the Victorian police is the only state that allows people to be police officers that have committed some serious offences, and they operate within the Victorian police force as police officers. And really, at the end of the day, this is the only state that still has the ability to allow this to happen. The Victorian Police mission is to provide a safe, secure and orderly society by serving the community and the law. Our members have a duty to preserve the peace, protect life and property, prevent offences and detect and apprehend offenders and help them in play in the community. Employees entrust with the considerable authorities and responsibility. The last thing that I will say is that police should not be getting involved in civil matters. If they ascertain that it's a civil matter, then police should be saying, excuse me, sir, this is a civil matter. We do not get involved with civil matters. You will need to go and refer this to your legal counsel or your lawyer, but we will not get involved because that is not our role and that is not our place to get involved in civil matters. Once a police officer ascertains that it is a civil matter, that is when their role ends. Their role always not ends when it is a police matter and it comes under the criminal codes and it comes under the law and under the legislation. That is when a police officer gets involved. But other than that, if it's a civil matter, then police should not be entertaining or getting involved in that matter. It is a matter for the lawyers to sort out a civil matter. At the end of the day, let's keep the Victorian police honest. Let's keep the bastards honest. And let's start to have a little bit more honesty and integrity and iron out the rogues in the Victorian police, iron out the ones that make it bad for everyone else, some of those police officers that make it bad for the majority. Let's iron them out, let's get them rid of them, and the Victorian people start video recording their behaviours and reporting it to the authorities like IBAC, the Police Integrity Unit, and other units in the police force. Let's put a stop to their wrongful behaviour and make them more accountable. And, you know, the other thing is, yes, maybe there should be a Facebook set up to actually